17th of April, 5:24 p.m., the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Boy, have we got some loose ends. What the heck? Have we got like a sequel hook or something? I mean, thankfully we can play The Great Ace Attorney 2 right after this, in fact, because it's part of the package, but goodness me, imagine if this just came out and you're like, this ending? It's done. It's over at last. Unless there's a hidden 6th trial somewhere, which, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to, but something tells me there isn't. But, I mean, we didn't even find out about the Hound of the Baskervilles sitting in our court record still. Where has Iris disappeared to? Gina! Congratulations, Gina! I knew it all along! I knew that you were innocent! Oh, yeah, okay, thanks. This is how you show gratitude, huh? By giving me the cold shoulder? Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naruhodo. You believed in me. Right up to the end. Well, we're not quite at the end just yet. Like I said, there's still a couple of things I want resolved right now. Here's odd as your name. That's also very kind. What's odd about it? I told you I had faith in you, didn't I? Well, no one ever has before, see? Kept a promise, I mean. Properly. Well, you know, there's a first for everything, Gina, and that includes keeping a promise. You can't stay pessimistic forever. That's awful. I figured something out today. All my life, growing up in the slums, I've never trusted no one. But that's just because I've been scared of being stabbed in the back. Yeah, like the Skulkin brothers just did. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it hurts when they let you down. That is true, but you're going in with the mentality that they're going to one day eventually betray you. So the trick is to betray them first. That way, you'll never get disappointed. You're the one who disappointed them. Of course, you'll need a stone-cold heart for that. Yes, I think I can understand that. After all, I had a taste of it in that trial 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone, and paid for it. That betrayal left a big scar. It's not just betrayal as well, like when you care for someone and you lose them, like with Kazuma, you know? He just died a senseless death, and you're like, well, shit, I feel horrible now. Like, he didn't die a grandiose death. You know, though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently, too. Trusting in someone else it's really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. And when your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. Besides love, maybe. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. It comes with the highest highs and the lowest lows. Oh, well, if you say so. Don't make a fat lot of sense to me, though. I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, it's been a real pleasure. For crying out loud, pack it in! Sorry. But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, it's alright. Well, 5 out of 10. Mid-vibes, you know? Thanks. This is the way I see it, Ryunosuke. There he is, my sword. It's speaking to me. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean. Kazuma, am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believed I could be? If only I had a spirit medium as an assistant, then you could speak to me. Although, you know, my spirit medium assistant would probably have her boobs shrink, seeing as how it all works, right? Pardon the interruption. Is that Gregson? Oh my god. What the deuce does a man have to do to be noticed around here, my dear fellow? Even his partner's like, huh? You're not Charlie! That voice! It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruhodo. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of the room for an eternity. I'm not even facing that way. Yes, it was me all along. I would have said when you finally noticed me. But you people, with your incessant babbling!
Ah, Mr. Sholmes.
Ha ha ha! Yes, it was me all along! Ah, you see! I see. I see it was you all along. Wow, you just stripped in the defendant lobby. My goodness. No wonder that guy has his hat down past his eyes. I'd assumed you'd been taken back to the hospital, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. I did my dance of deduction out the door. Oh, okay. That's a bit much. I happened to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctor who was tending to me. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence. Oh, very above board. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Naruhodo. Your tireless efforts justly were rewarded, I feel. Just so. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat at you. Oh, close friend? Thank you. Some great detective you are. Great at being cold as ice, maybe. Have I irked you in some way, Miss Lestrade? While you've been having a snooze in your nice soft bed, some of us have been fighting for our lives. Ah, well. That bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. Nothing life-threatening, though, I suppose. I wasn't fighting for my life. Just a vial exploded over my abdomen. So I've indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps as cold as ice, but, well, have a feel. No, please. Thank you. I'm keeping my hands to myself. Could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes? You know, we don't need to mimic what Graydon did to Gregson just now. And in some way, I suppose, congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestrade. What's that supposed to mean? Why so half-hearted? Well, naturally, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but an acquittal in a trial with that particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precarious. Unless you're shipping off to another country, perhaps. Well done, Mr. Sholmes. Not alarming in the slightest. Oh, the Reaper, you mean? Because anyone who's found not guilty in a trial he was working on winds up dead anyway? Is that it? The very point I was trying to make. Well done. You read between the lines. As exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGilded, in fact. Ah, but of course, I pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself. Huh. Yeah, well, it don't bother me. Oh, really? Of course not. The way I see it, the Reaper's a bit like I'm upstairs. Him upstairs, sorry. Him upstairs? You mean like God? Yeah. Him upstairs knows what's what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. Oh, so he's... I thought you were gonna say he's like the man upstairs as in the judge who looks like St. Nicholas because Santa knows if you've been naughty or nice. And that fits very well for a guy who plays a judge. He won't have got the wrong end of the stick. There's some coves like that bog trotter, what are rotten to the core, and so they befall the curse, whereas the good people, they escape it. At the end of the day, come upstairs and make sure they get what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Divine justice is one thing, though. The Reaper taking matters into his own hands and claiming lives is another. I mean, you know, are you saying Kazuma deserved to break his neck? Well, I ain't like the McGildeds of this world, so I ain't scared. I got principles, see? A trait in you which is to be admired, Mr. Lestrade. Oi! Just give a rest, alright? As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal was very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. I mean, we also have the fact that, like, what Susato was up to, right? Like, I suppose... Oh, now that I think about it, it was probably the fact that she made the peephole. Okay. I thought there was some grand conspiracy going on. Still, we haven't got the answer to the question how she knows about the Hound of the Baskervilles. Well, there you are! Haley! How long have you been here? Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there. Oh, well, he was dressed up. Ah, Iris, my dear. I do apologize. But wait until I tell you what happened. This pair made utter fools of themselves. Bro, I won a case, okay? That almost exposed British government secrets. You saying I made a fool of myself? What happened? As you know, I have a penchant for disguise. I was hiding in this room, dressed as a bailiff. But these dolts didn't notice my presence at all. They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it?
I'm not sure, really. I don't think they really gave a shit. I'm sorry, I don't think they cared.
I beg your pardon?
I'm sorry, Hurley, but you just don't have the weighty presence you seem to think you have.
Oh, damn, Iris. Way to kill him.
In fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's going to land you in trouble one day.
You might have to go back to the hospital for that burn. I'll be careful. Ouch.
Anyway, it's such a shame. I was so hoping to throw a party for Ginny tonight. But you won't be able to come, will you?
Don't look like I'm going to be going anywhere for a while.
Yeah, the judge's patter. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All them offences. What was it again? Breaking and entering, taking the bog trotter stuff, what was in the lug, blah blah blah.
Yes, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offense. You're a thief. Although, you know, we're constantly on trial for murder, though we did have a theft case in Trials and Tribulations.
But diving ain't an offense. It's a job, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. Like a hitman. A hitman's a job, right? You can't be prosecuted for that. I don't think so. What about the guy who burned up McGilden? He was just doing his job. He's a contractor.
Still, it's got me thinking all this. Maybe I should start looking for another line of work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did you, Odo?
No. But maybe you could work as a private investigator. Well, no. But I was never a pickpocket. I was just an accused murderer. Twice.
Well, anyway, I reckon I could make a change. I'm going to do something for all them lot like me from the slums. Something that makes a difference for them.
Oh, you're going to go into communications?
That's a wonderful idea, Ginny, and I'm sure you can do it. What is it?
Oh, she's crying. Sob, sob.
Nothing.
Miss Gina Lestrade, prison carriage has arrived, ma'am. Come with me to the rear gate at once.
Right. Well, looks like I'm off then.
Yes. Goodbye, Gina, and good luck. Sorry I didn't defend you on your perjury charge, but I need to keep a stellar record. I need to keep an undefeatable streak.
Odo?
Yes? Oh god. I can't believe I'm just gonna stand here and take it. Oh! Ah! What was that for? I can't believe it. I literally stood here, thinking you were just bluffing, and then you shot me in the face.
I don't know, I mean, I don't know what to say, so I shot you.
Ah, indeed. Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hitherto missing from your vocabulary, Mr. Strad.
Huh?
On occasions such as this, thank you will suffice. I would recommend a simple thank you.
Oh. Oh yes. It's good advice, Ginny. Right, I see. Well,
I'm surprised she didn't get tackled by the bailiff and hauled to the prison carriage by now. For deploying a weapon. She's taking her hat off.
Thanks, Odo.
Oh, God, you melted my heart here, Gina.
Thank you for everything what you've done. For believing in me.
Damn it. Ah, that's such a good smile. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. Whew. Wow. Well, there she goes. Wonder if I'll ever see her again. Well, well. Quite the indomitable pickpurse.
Oh, I nearly forgot. I bought a paper outside. It's a special edition, and this trial is all over the front page.
Really? They're selling the paper late at night? Surely they do it in the morning. How do they print it so fast?
Pickpocket's innocence proven. Isn't it wonderful?
You should have shown it to Gina, Iris. She would have been thrilled. Yeah, she could have some prison reading.
Oh no! How silly of me. But anyway, would you like the good news or the bad news?
Ugh, not again.
Well, what do you say, Reno? Hurley?
As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Normally when they say, do you want the good news or the bad news first? It has to happen in a specific order. Like if you say, can I have the bad news first? They'll be like, oh, well, sorry, let me tell you the good news first so you have context for the bad news. And you're like, oh, okay. Absolutely not. I have no intention of listening to anything but good news, so say the good first, and then I'll walk away.
And there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it?
Let's not go there. I don't need a psych eval.
Alright then, maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. There was a record level of rainfall, apparently.
Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news?
The huge storm has left the seas very choppy.
So, boats traveling out?
The channel in particular is awful, so sailings out of Dover have been delayed by a day or more.
Wait, Dover?
That's right. If we head to the station immediately, we may still make it in time to wave Susie off.
Oh, that's bad news, is it? It's terrible. It's tragic that we have to say goodbye to Susie. But there won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Sholmes? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. If we hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. And I know of a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. I don't... the great detective does it again. Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of the rail transport director's foibles. What? I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive. Elementary. Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. Although I appreciate it in this particular instance.
What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria.
Okay. You look like we're about to rob the train, Iris. 18th of April, 5:32 a.m. Port of Dover. Quayside. Quayside. Depends on how you want to say it. That took somewhat longer than I anticipated.
Susie's boat must be about to leave now.
I didn't realize we had dinner at 5:30 in the morning. Miss Susato, where are you? Oh, there she is. Over there, look! Looks like she's reading something. She sticks out like a sore thumb.
What?
Whoa, wait! Miss Susato, wait! What are you doing?
Mr. Naruhodo, what are you doing here?
We came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard that sailings were being delayed due to the bad weather, you see.
Oh, I see.
Oh, sorry. Sorry to come here and say goodbye to you. I know it's difficult.
Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go?
It went well. She was acquitted. On most charges. Oh, it's so nice to see everyone smile.
That's wonderful. Really wonderful news.
The book you were about to throw into the sea. It was your Encyclopedia of British Law, wasn't it?
Oh dear. I was hoping you hadn't seen that.
You're standing directly under a lamp. You know, in plain view. Like, not even in a crowd, so... yeah.
I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now. So, I'll say my final farewell.
What do you mean you're not worthy? Because you quote-unquote tampered with the crime scene? I wouldn't even call that tampering. You intervened to save a life. Or, you know, yeah, technically you did. You helped prove Gina's innocence. You were saying goodbye to law?
You, Susato-san?
Would I be correct in assuming? It's because of the people, Miss Susato.
Well, I deliberately altered the scene of a crime. And then I tried to hide the fact.
I mean, it was an active crime scene, actually.
What I did was utterly unforgivable.
Through fair means or foul, haven't we established that?
That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner if you remember.
Oh yeah, it was just 3 nights ago, wasn't it?
Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, I mean. Oh, that was so much fun. I stole Runo's armband.
Yes, please don't do that again, Iris. That band's very important to me. For goodness sake. It's like if I stole your goggles.
What if it's so important you should pay more attention to it? You didn't notice for ages.
Yeah, well, you couldn't find Sherlock Holmes, okay? Does that mean he's not important? Because he was disguised?
On a whim, I thought it would be fun to see if I could take the cat flapper mat. So I put up my sleeve, you know, along with all my books. Really? And then I rather forgot about it until I found myself in Mr. Winterbank's shop with it later that night.
I see.
And then...
the bang.
Ah! Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes!
Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. Right. Chased after the Skulkin brothers.
After Mr. Naruhodo had left the shop, I started to think. That door started to play on my mind.
The storeroom door, you mean?
Yes. If Gina was anywhere in the shop, I realized it could only be behind that door. And at that moment, the little device that I had up my sleeves sprang to mind. I was so worried about Gina. I simply had to know.
Exactly. It's fine. It was a matter of life or death. What if she was bleeding out in there? So you used the cat flapper mat to make the peephole on the door.
As captured in the photographic print of the shop. By one of Hurley's red-handed recorders.
Indeed. It was of the first importance, that point. I did have a discussion in the comments like that was such a bold play. Putting that in the photos, trusting that through the art of misdirection you wouldn't notice. Because if you had noticed, you'd be like, oh, well, when is this going to come up, you know? And it comes up towards the end of the trial. Imagine if you noticed it really early on. You'd just be like, well, come on, man, just get to the point. I know, I see there's a peephole there. Like, why? What's that all about? But when you don't notice, and then you realize it was before your eyes the entire time, you're just like, oh my god, wow, that's so cheeky, so cheeky. Precisely when the peephole was made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon. Though naturally, without proof, it would have amounted to nothing.
But when I looked through the hole in the door, the sight that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remembered that trial 2 months earlier.
The trial of Magnus McGilded.
I thought about how he had manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. And then, a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now?
Huh?
Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Winterbank. Even though I was sure she would never have done such a thing.
You were worried that the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime.
That's right. But then I realized it would be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case.
Now I'm thinking, like, obviously the scene wasn't manipulated because the door was closed. Gina just had the gun in her hand because she picked it up from Winterbank, and she was panicked and she was holding it in case anyone bust through the door so she could shoot them. So, I mean, I don't think Graydon intentionally tried to frame Gina. She just happened to be the suspect because of circumstances, and he ran with it. What do you mean?
Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room.
And there was no way of seeing what happened in there.
For someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there would have to be a way to see beyond the door.
For which, a peephole would be the very thing.
Only the peephole I'd made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course.
Right, so you intentionally made the peephole because if someone claimed to have witnessed the crime take place, like Graydon did, we could say, actually, that's impossible because that peephole was never there. Because that's how they'd say they witnessed it. So that's pretty ingenious of you, Susato. Pretty clever of you to come up with that on the fly during a pretty tense situation.
And the criminal would know that, so it wouldn't make any difference.
But The possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not?
A trap? Is that why she did it? So, is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned that you made the peephole to anyone, not even to the police. I know, and I knew at the time what I was doing was wrong. A criminal offense, even.
True. If you put it that way, your intentions are bad. In a sense that you're tampering with the crime scene. But, you know, you don't have to tell everyone the full story.
That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner with no other possible means of escape. The truth about the peephole could save him. That was my plan.
And that's why you met with him that morning. She really does think of everything. She does. She's so smart. She's clever. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, it would have rendered you complicit in the whole escapade. Oh. You could have been disbarred if you had been seen to knowingly tampered with the crime scene. So Mr. Sato decided to shoulder the burden of responsibility alone. For your sake, and Mr. Strahd's.
Mr. Sato. The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I'd lost a little of my faith in the law.
Oh.
I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime. But the moment I allowed myself to think that, it's the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant.
What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied in the witness stand, using that peephole as a way to implicate Gina.
Huh?
And besides, if the peephole inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not at all sure that she would have been acquitted in the end. Mr. Sato, what you did saved Gina's life. It saved my life. It saved the... Okay, it didn't save the Empire of Britain, but, you know. We'll take the small victory. You know, a life is important.
Well, with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you've saved me too, from my regrets.
I'm glad. Whew. Well, we must all be thankful that Mr. Strahd's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Although some of the loose ends in that trial will continue to play on my mind, I'm sure. Thankfully, the next game is right around the corner, you know?
But the revelation that the music box disc contains secret messages, Mr. Naruhodo. What a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration.
Yeah, about that, we can't translate it because it's not Morse code. Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was.
Eh? It wasn't.
There was a communications officer among the jury members, you see, because there always has to be someone relevant to the case in the jury. A telegraph operator. And she said that the majority of the sounds on the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect. After all, we are talking about secret government communications. Right, so a code that we haven't cracked yet. No doubt they were written in cipher to avoid being readily understood should they have been intercepted. In cipher? I see. So then we could never have hoped to understand the message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-pipe problem, I assure you. Okay. Don't tell me you made copies of them. A. So. Gi. What? What? Asogi? Kazuma Asogi?
Well, that can't be a real word, can it? How funny. Wait! Iris, what did you just say? Oh, I just said Asogi. Does that word mean something to you?
Mean something? Mean something? I'm gonna pull out my katana right now! Asogi was the name of my best friend.
What? But how? How do you know that name, Iris?
Well, how do you know the name of my fucking manuscript, Susato? How about we trade? Damn, I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills. This music, it always gives me chills.
I wrote it down during the trial before, when the message was playing on the music box.
So you translated it. That's good to know that only we can understand the secret government communications and not the public gallery. She transcribed it on the fly? She really is a genius. Surrounded by smart people.
I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. But whenever I tried, the words just didn't seem to make any sense.
So the words, so you mean it's in Japanese? The whole thing?
That is, in English at least. Oh. It suddenly occurred to me, you see. There's more than one Morse code, not just the English variety. Various countries around the world have altered and added to Morse code to use it in their own languages.
I don't believe it. Are you saying...
That's right. I've only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before. But I think it's based on the Iroha pentagram, isn't it?
And you mean to say that in Japanese Morse code the message says asogi?
Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all of the Japanese Morse code. Iris, would you let me see that? I'm pretty sure it's in my book somewhere.
Mr. Sato, do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code?
Yes, I spent some time studying it, because, you know, this is like the Matrix. I just download any relevant skill I need. I could probably pilot that ship if I needed to. Because I'm quite sure Morse code will become ever more important for international communications.
Then might I recommend, my dear madam, that you focus your efforts on the English version.
Be that as it may, Iris, show me the message, please.
Irish? Did I say Irish? Oh my god, I'm all over the show right now.
Of course.
I told you it's in her book. It's the ancient Wikipedia.
But what can this possibly mean?
Whatever is in that long sequence of supposedly meaningless dots and dashes, it's made the color drain from Susato-san's face. Asogi. Death faked. Is it? Imagine.
There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code.
So the British Empire has been using Japanese for its secret communications?
I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names.
Oh. 4 names.
The first is Kei Asogi.
Kazuma Asogi? Why? Why was his name on that disc? Are we gonna have, let's see if we can guess who the other names are gonna be. We're gonna have Strongheart, maybe? I want to say he's gonna be in it. Hosonaga, perhaps? And maybe Mikotoba. Those are my 4 guesses.
The second is A Shin.
Oh, okay, never mind. Out the door. I suppose if they're all in Japanese, it wouldn't be Strongheart. Shin? I don't recognize that name.
The third is T. Gureguson.
Alright. Inspector Gregson? Tobias Gregson? Guregu. Gregson? Ah, it would seem Tobias Gregson is the 3rd man on the list. And what's his name doing on a secret government communication as well?
And the last name.
What's the matter, Mr. Sato?
It's just so strange. So unexpected. Hey, what is it, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense.
Tell me! Screw the dots!
The last name is J. Wilson.
Ah! This is too much for me! What the heck?
What? Wilson? John H. Wilson? You mean Daddy? It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure.
But what would it say? It can't be J. Wilson, because there's no L in the Japanese language. It'll be J. Wirusun. Wirusun.
Then, after the 4 names, it reads, if I translate from Japanese, that is all 4. And that's the end of the message. Or rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris.
What is this, supposed to be like an assassination? Like a hit list? Maybe Kazuma's death wasn't an accident after all. Because Dr. Wilson was assassinated by Giselle Brett. The conspiracy, it thickens. Oh man, this is so exciting. I just can't believe it. Who would have ever thought that those discs contain Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of some disturbingly familiar names. At least 3 out of the 4. It would appear that this particular message is a communication of some kind between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan.
So, Daddy could be in Japan then? Where Susie and Ride come from?
Yeah. I mean, he's probably there. He's probably gonna be there forever. Because he was probably buried there.
Oh, well... You know... No. It's not very likely, really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson, and there must be lots of J's among them.
Yeah. But, you know, if it fits... Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. But we can't tell Iris about that now. We just can't. Not when she's smiling like that. Not when the game is afoot. We can't tell her now. This is so strange. Somehow, in solving the case of Mr. Windibank's murder today, I feel like I've rolled back a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave.
That's a very specific metaphor there. Or simile, sorry. I do wonder if perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside.
No, damn it! We have to! Uh-oh. Don't tell me you're going, Susato! I need you! Don't leave me!
Oh dear.
You're not a tool!
The ship is going to set sail soon.
Yes, it seems so.
I'll sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. Then I'll change onto a larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. You're really going then, Susie?
It is her father. We wish you a safe passage, Miss Susato.
Thank you so much. I wish all of you the very best.
Miss Susato, I'd hope to have you always at my side to guide me and support me. Will you please put your soul in another sword so I can have a dual-wielding katanas?
Mr. Naruhodo!
Please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world. Oh, get together, you two! I shipped them! Naruhodo, join that ship! Board that ship, because we're shipping you two!
I'm quite sure. I'll be back before you know it.
It takes months!
Really, Susie? Oh, now don't forget, Iris. I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill. A promise? About your manuscript. Ah.
Oh yes, the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Well, I'll be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise. Definitely, Iris.
I don't understand why you can't tell her now. Or me.
Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes. I mean, I wonder if it's about Daddy's adventures. It must be relevant to this card conspiracy.
Do you remember the first time we met?
Yes, of course. You saved my ass in that trial. Oh, what? I thought we met before then, during my first murder trial, but sure. On the SS Buria when I was dragged out from that wardrobe, still half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with a Susato takedown.
You know very well that I'm talking about after that. It's strange, but being thrown together as we were in that case, I somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy, the Susato. And my instincts were right. I really want to believe. No, I'm sure that I'll be back soon. Farewell until then.
Farewell, Susato. Bon voyage. Safe travels. Take care. Oh my god, I hope that's not the Titanic. Oh, and we've got some potentially dodgy Russian sailors again?
The Adventures of Ryonosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least.
Ooh, they acknowledged it was the first volume right from the get-go.
Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey.
Aww. I hate saying bye. I hate farewell scenes.
Fate led me
There
to
she
becoming
goes.
a lawyer, to traveling halfway around the world, to meeting the great detective.
I can't hear you. You're too far
I'm sure
away.
there'll be trials and tribulations ahead. Of course there will.
Oh, he said trials and tribulations.
But whatever happens,
There will be justice for
I know
all.
I'll be able to turn my fortunes around.
Sholmes, don't drop that violin now.
After all, I have the greatest friends in the world on my side.
And I am the great Ace Attorney. I simply say that to roll the credits. Well, looks like they knew that they were going to make 2 parts to this game if they mentioned the end of this particular volume. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Sholmes, what's up? What's going on? The cutscene just finished. I have some rather awkward news. Awkward news? The railway company has decided to sue over the Special Express train, apparently. Oh. Well. Uh-huh.
It caused such a commotion on the line. All the other trains had to wait at stations.
Yeah, well, it was worth it, okay? To bring London to a standstill, a gridlock. But really, we would never have made it to Dover in time otherwise. And we've sort of pulled on the thread of a conspiracy. Anyway, I explained everything, and how it was all your fault. What? Oh my god, why are you telling me after the ship has left? I could have boarded a boat, and escaped. I could have fled the country. Huh? Huh? I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. You know, my office is right upstairs. But not to worry, my dear fellow. According to Miss Susato...
You love defending yourself in court.
Huh? Huh? Huh?
It's alright, I'm perfectly happy to testify. He really didn't look like the sort of man who would do something so outrageous. See?
I take it back. I don't have the greatest friends in the world with me. I've got... Gina was right. They'll only betray you in the end. Mr. Sholmes. Yes? A word, if you don't mind. Would you mind just dancing down that little wharf there? You're doing your dance of deduction and then doing a swan dive off of it? Why, certainly. Any word you like. Bellow it out, my dear fellow.
Oh yes, I love Ryuno's words. And I know just the one he'll use here.
Objection. Then, I really must say...
Objection!
There we go. If only I had a bit more gusto there, Ryonosuke. Oh, how far we've come from our humble beginnings until now, the end of the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. This has been a tumultuous ride. As I said last episode, I had a lot of things going on in real life alongside this playthrough, so this is certainly going to be a memorable one for me. In the following weeks, hundreds of music boxes arrived at Baker Street from all over Europe. Something was afoot. Though it transpired, I had ordered them all myself. So I advertised them for sale with, used by Mr. Sholmes to solve an important case. And the money I've earned, consulting detective work pays a pittance by comparison. Well, I think you should definitely get into marketing there, Mr. Sholmes. That was a brilliant way to pawn off all those unused music boxes.
Ah, haven't slept a wink. This manuscript is due tomorrow now. When I'm this busy, Hurley usually cooks me breakfast. Well, cooks is an overstatement. For some dry toast and insipid coffee. I do miss Susie and her lovely Japanese breakfasts.
I imagine you do. Although, it's about time we disparage Inspector Gregson's name now, isn't it?
Witness, your testimony is riddled with contradictions.
Exactly. Rarely do rare Koban coins hide under rare stakes themselves. Forgot about these 2 clowns. Well, I don't know, sir. Knows his father's an innocent man. Or are you calling my son a liar? Witnesses. My court is no place for your petty arguments. I've completely forgotten the voices I gave these guys. It's been so long. Having delivered the Russian dancer to shore in Shanghai, I laid low on the steamship for a while. But last night I apprehended an extremely suspicious Japanese national on board. I knew it. I've done nothing wrong. All I did was give Wakahai's offspring refuge in my pocket. A man brings some kittens on board and suddenly he's a hardened criminal. It's not fair. Shit. You can't catch a break. Scientific investigation will be the gold standard for policing in the new age. I dream of a world governed by the tenets of order and discipline. Like a great clock, in fact, whose hundreds of parts mesh together in perfect unison. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have but 2 minutes and 37 seconds until my next appointment. He's gotta have more involvement in the next one, right? The latest Rants magazine's out, and I'm in it again. Whenever I say that one line she wrote now, I get a standing ovation. Wanna hear it? Not bad, I suppose, for an amateur. You're lucky you haven't been nationally embarrassed yet. Her ladyship puts me to shame. Been visiting the old girl on a daily basis, of course. Jody, my old jailbird. Must say, battling with those bally stares her has done wonders for the Dicky Peg. The Dicky Pig. Managing rather well with the housework, too. Got this maid business taped up, I say. But the gossiping neighbors don't realize the man of the house is his own maid. Well, you could have hired juror number 2. I'm sure she would have been fine to serve under you.
My Rolly is back on the beat again. All thanks to the Reaper.
There's nothing I don't enjoy more these days than hunting out small change in the gutter. I'm a better Bobby now, looking out for Londoners, their dropped halfpennies, and my lovely wife.
Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly.
Gosh, these two lovebirds. I have to say, I think there were 2 people we saw in this case out in the street. They never made another appearance. Are they reserved for Volume 2? I can't remember who they were, though, but they didn't turn up as witnesses, that's for sure.
Looks like I'm gonna be doing time for a bit now. But Iris comes every day for a natter, so it ain't too boring. She's always going on about all them cases what Sholmes is looking into. Criminal investigations are kind of interesting, when you get into them.
Well, maybe you'll become a cop yet, Miss Lestrade. Yes, I renounced my upbringing and chose a life of sophisticated crime. But regrets, please. Give over, bruv. That ain't the Ash we used to know. We got time in here to plan the comeback of Milverton and Skulkin's milk run, right? The 3 Muscowatsits. Milk in the neighborhood for all it's worth. It looks like there's only 1 bed in there, though, guys. I don't know if you're taking turns or what, but hey, whatever's comfortable. The ghost of Susato is going to give testimony now.
This past 6 months have been a time I shall remember forevermore. Painful goodbyes and wonderful encounters. I've come to realize that's what life is all about. Naruhodo-san, I promise. Your assistant will return to you one day. But for now, I leave you with many memories and a heartfelt wish that life will treat you well.
Yeah, well, it hasn't so far. But definitely looking forward to not having to defend myself for murder charges ever again. Who's gonna tidy this place up now? Aww, that's such a sweet image. Look at us. Oh, Susato, I hope you're coming back for the next game, honestly. That has to mean it's gonna take place a few months from now, right? We're gonna have a little time jump forward. Well, I think here we are at the official credits. I have to say that I enjoyed this game. For the most part, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. It's definitely as fun, if not more, than the recent entries in the Ace Attorney series. I loved the change of the setting, the new characters have been fantastic. Sholmes, obviously, is a standout character. Guy's just eccentric all around. His Dance of Deduction minigame is such a delight. They definitely made use of the 3D engine for this mechanic. I'm glad we got to use it a couple of times, unlike another minigame, which I'll get to at some point soon. Obviously, Susato is the world's greatest judicial assistant. I love having her around. She's as great as Maya was. It's hilarious that she has her own encyclopedia slipped under her sleeve, which could also house the cat flapper-mat at the same time, so you have to wonder what else she could be hiding under there. There she is. I like this. We're like parading past all the characters we've seen in the game so far. Giselle Britt, of course, the assassin behind Dr. Wilson's death. Iris and Gina were cool to hang out with as well, each with their own trademark Ace Attorney quirkiness. Van Zeeks has to be one of my favorite prosecutors, besides Godot and Blackwell. The guy just has this menacing presence His theme is fucking amazeballs. Even his goddamn name, okay? Baroque Van Zeeks. And his nickname as well, the Reaper of the Bailey. Like, this guy has everything going for him. He's intelligent, he's cruel at times, but not needlessly cruel. Oh no, we're leaving Kazuma behind. Because that's when he died. This game, like, Ryonosuke's following a path throughout the game of what's happened. And, obviously Kazuma's vanished at the hands of his killer, quote unquote. Yeah. Oh, and here we are. I had to say, we had to be given his sword at some point so we can carry on. I guess Hisata's gonna take his place. Going back to Van Zeeks, though, he has this air of mystery around him, you know, that has you begging to know more, like, as well as his goblet smashing, his objection voice. The guy is perfection, man, honestly. I hope we get to see more of him in the next one. What else is there? As I mentioned previously, it was great to have Sholmes' Dance of Deduction minigame used basically once a chapter. I wish I could say the same for the summation examination. I mean, it's such a cool concept. It's got a cool soundtrack backing as well, especially with the introduction of the jury into the mix, because, you know, we were supposed to have that introduced after Ace Attorney 4 with Apollo Justice. I just feel like they abused it a little, you know? I feel like, rather than have it framed as this, as a sort of, this is your last chance, this is your last ditch effort to save your case, you know, this is the final straw, you gotta save it, you're about to lose it. It's just like a replacement now for witness testimony. And I think it's funny how far the series has strayed from, you know, simply finding contradictions in testimony to having, you know, summation examinations, or you're looking for tells from other witnesses on the stand and all that. Oh, nice. Sholmes is joining us. Obviously, the series has to evolve from that, or it'll be obviously way too easy if you're just doing the same thing over and over and repetitive. But, you know, it would be nice to have some basic testimony now and then. I guess that's the downside of only having one-day trials here. You don't have time to go through numerous witnesses and their testimony. You kind of have to just get it done in one go. So I suppose that also kind of shrinks the game down a bit. It's a bit on the shorter side, but, you know, I'm not complaining about that. I also found it hilarious that the jury would always have over half of them with a personal stake in the case, where they're able to contribute in some way to its resolution. Like, in this recent one, we had the communications lady, we had the stereoscope man, the old fella who did surgery on Sholmes and he also tripped over in case 4, Mrs. Garadib in case 4, and then Mr. Garadib in the subsequent trial. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it's a game, it's an Ace Attorney game. It just feels, you know, a little too contrived still. I wish there was a better way to get that info that we needed. But alas, still, like I said, I enjoyed this game immensely. Cases 3 and 5 were probably my favorite. I mean, funny that both of them were practically locked room murders, although now I think about it, case number 2 was also a locked room murder as well. I just felt sad after solving it, I guess. I mean, it was a neat twist and all that Kazuma hadn't been nefariously offed, but it still sucks to have a character with great potential kind of just die in an accident, you know, if you know what I mean? Like, at least with Mia Fey, she sticks around because of the spirit channeling, and ultimately her murder is a strong plot point in Trials and Tribulations. Who knows, maybe there's something in the second game, especially with that cliffhanger that we're left on. What the fuck? Alright guys, I will catch you later, all 4 of you. Anyway, there'll be a bit of a break between this and Ace Attorney Resolve, I think it's called. Stay tuned for that. In the meantime, the Great Ace Attorney Adventures is Finn. Thanks everyone for bearing with me again, for watching and supporting the series. It's been a lot of fun, finally putting a Ace Attorney game on the channel. Feel free to check out my other series on the channel. Otherwise, I'll hopefully see you all again soon. Catch you later. Enjoy this artwork of Kazuma and Ryonosuke.